Happy 2021, everyone. How's it going? Well, for me, things are going a little bit better considering that 2020 is over. And though I don't want to get too optimistic and, have my hopes of 2021 being a great year shattered. So I'm going to be a little bit more, I guess, reserved. So anyway, I had a request from a gentleman, I believe his name is Chellino. He had a video request to do a driving video of this car, and forgive me if I'm not pronouncing your name right, sir. And most of the time, I can't even pronounce my own name right, so it's just the way I am. Also, I just want to add in that anyone that wants to skip the introduction, and I don't blame you, I'm no Sob Kyle. You can check the description, and I will put a time mark, I guess, that will skip you directly to the driving section of this video. So anyway, since I had the time to make a video on this car, I figured I would go ahead and tackle everything while I can. So I'm going to make this kind of as brief as possible. I know that I always fail when I say that, but I want to do a walk around of the car and just kind of show it off. Finally, I have something new to show to everyone. For 10 years I've been showing this thing, my F-150 over here. And it's still running good, by the way. It's got I think it's got 184,000 on it now, and it's running like a beast. But this is going to be the focus for this video. So anyway, after a few months of looking for a Panther, and Panther being a Panther platform car, that includes the Ford Crown Victoria, Mercury Grand Marquis, Lincoln Town Car, I just could not pass this car up. I have been looking for several months, and this there is an amazing, I will tell you right now, there is an amazing amount of enthusiasm in the market for these cars, simply because there is you get such an amazing value for very little money. This is a 69,000 mile currently, 2007 Mercury Grand Marquis, LS Premium is what they call it, I believe. It's this trim level. And wow, it is a very nice car, and I just love driving it. I picked it up in Lithia Springs, Georgia, which is right outside of Atlanta. There was a gentleman there that was selling it, and I found it on Craigslist. And keep in mind, this is after a long search of calling dealers. Every dealer that I had called, to inquire on a specific car, because I was looking at everything, and they were gone before I even had a chance to freaking blink, simply because these cars are highly sought after. They're so reliable, they're beautiful, and people just love them just as much as I do. So anyway, I was a little bit apprehensive about a Craigslist ad. I wanted to go through a dealer, but in this case, this car, when I got it back in August, had less than 59,000 on it. It had, I want to say 58,700 miles. And so, I've put like just about 11,000 miles on it since August the 22nd was the date that I bought it. So I've drove the pee out of this car. And I know that a lot of people would say, I'm an idiot for putting so many miles on a low mileage car, but I can't help it. It's so wonderful to drive. It's a joy, and I just love these cars. So anyway, I went to Lithia Springs, Georgia, and met the gentleman that was selling it. and right off the bat, I love the car. So I went ahead and picked it up right away because I knew it was going to be gone. You know, I know that these cars are marketed to the older buyer, but the thing is that I have always loved these cars, especially my granddad's old 1997 Grand Marquis. The reason that I don't have it was because that car had so many problems. That car from day one had problems like crazy. I mean, it was just, and it needed over $5,000 worth of work. You know, I mean, yes, the car had low mileage, but my God, let that be somebody else's problem. My granddad hated that car. Now, one thing I will say is, no, the car is not perfect, and it does have when it was first brand new, it was a rental for the first 9 months of its life. It has no accidents on its record, but I pulled a Carfax on it, and it has no accidents on its record. It has had some paint work. Underneath it, you can see a little bit of overspray, probably where people have hit the low ends, like on the bumper down here. They probably hit some stuff. And back here on this quarter panel, I guess you would call it, you know, it's hard to see in the night, but there is actually, you can almost see, there's a line right about here where it's been painted just across this small section here, across all the way back, across the back of the trunk. But other than that, and you know, and it's got this little mark down here, but the car is overall in very good shape. It's very straight. As a matter of fact, even after owning it for several months, I don't have any dings or dents to really talk about, other than just some minor little chips out of it. Take a look inside. The carpet does have a few stains here and there. I do want to change out these floor mats because they're so prone to staining. But I just love the car. I mean, the car even still smells like new. Take a look in the back seat here. And my hat laying back here. But you can see the seats are in good condition. The car is fairly clean. I mean, considering, you know, its age, and it's still a very low mileage car. And I left this for the purpose of this video, but you can actually see just how long this thing sat under trees. I mean, it's got, I'm gonna wipe all that off, but it's got a ton of tree moss everywhere. And yeah, it took a lot to, I mean, it wasn't terrible, but it did take quite a bit to clean up. And the tires are like new on it. These are Continental white walls that the gentleman put on it. And it was overall, it was a very good deal. It was probably the best one that I could have found. And yes, the blend door actuator behind the dash is out. So if you look, the blend door actuator is actually behind the dash here, and you have to pull the dash out. I'm probably going to let the dealer do that when the summertime comes, or spring. And because right now it's stuck on heat. Now it's perfect during wintertime, but it's not good when you need the air conditioning during the summer, because this car about killed me back in the summer when I bought it. Let's see, here's the other side. See, it's very clean. It's very clean. He took care of the car. The car has had 3 owners before me. Now that, I was a little bit apprehensive about that too. Because actually, technically, the first owner was a rental company, followed by an old gentleman who I'm not exactly sure what happened. Maybe he got too old to drive, or maybe he passed away. But then he sold it to the, or it got sold, however that happened, got sold to the gentleman that sold it to me. So technically I am the fourth owner of this car. But it is, one of the things that made it worth it is because it is such low mileage. You know, it is a very, I think right now, even after me driving it as much as I have, it's got 69,000, somewhere around 69,350 miles. There we go. 69,392.1 miles. So, and like I said, I put about 11,000 on it since I first purchased it. And you know, it's still relatively easy to find these cars with very low mileage. And you know, the value on these cars is going up as well. As time goes on, you know, the people are wanting to preserve them. That's one of the things that I'm wanting to do. I want to preserve these cars. You know, they're not made anymore, and these were an American icon. I mean, the last rear-wheel drive V8 powered car that you could purchase in America. So they're not made anymore. And you know, I have lost, this was the only car that I ever had any enthusiasm for, was the Panther platform. And there is no front wheel drive V6 sedans that I'm interested in. I like the big tanks like this, the big old grandpa cars. I'm also not interested in Cadillac. I'm not interested in Cadillac. I think that the Panther platform is much better in terms of longevity. And I'm just a Ford guy, period. So I've definitely never been a fan of GM. That's just me. A few upgrades I've done to the car, which is very basic. I just put in LED headlights. I also put in these LED cornering lamp bulbs. That's a 3157 bulb for anyone that might already own one. If you want to do an LED swap for your cornering lamp, there it is. The thing about the Grand Marquis though, as opposed to the Crown Vics, is most of the Crown Vics, you know, when getting to your, these are actually two separate units. So you've got this cornering side marker light assembly. Then you've got the main headlight assembly right there. Good grief, I need to learn how to turn the camera. But so if you have to replace any of these bulbs, you have to open the hood, and there's two bolts on the inside here that hold this assembly in, and it's really hard to get to. Naturally, nothing can ever be as simple as it should, but that really helped with the light cast for these lights. Are specifically, these cornering lamps are supposed to light up the turn before you actually get to it, and it helps you to see what you're doing. Keeps you from running off the road, especially if you have bad eyesight. Even if you have good eyesight, these things help tremendously. I also did an LED tag light back here and LED reverse lights. Now I don't want to mess with the tail lights or anything. I just think that the LEDs look nice. You know, I don't want to do anything major to the car. The only other thing that I did put LEDs in the headlights, and the particular bulb that I bought, which was from Last Fit, and I will tell you, it's a great company. They make great bulbs. But in the case of the headlight bulbs, was the only thing that I was disillusioned about. You know, I've heard a lot of good things about the bulbs, but the high beams are very, very underwhelming on Last Fit bulbs. So that's the one part of, you know, these headlights. I actually ended up going back to halogen, but I didn't put the old ones back in because they were old and dim anyway. So I just replaced them with a set of Sylvanias, brand new. You know, because I figured why not? Those headlight bulbs had probably been in this car since it was new. And but yeah, it's, other than that, right now I may be looking to do some exhaust work on the car. Very minor. I don't want this car to be loud. One of the reasons that I bought this car too is it's nice to have something quiet. But I'm thinking about having some true duals, and with 3.5-inch tips, it's going to come right in these exhaust cutouts. It's going to come straight out, rolled edges, maybe slightly bevel cut tips, and on either side. And see, right now, as you can see, this car's got the single exhaust set up. One of the things that I like about this car too is that it does not have airbag. It does not have air ride suspension, because that was another issue that was very expensive. Now, I'm not saying it happens to everybody's, but in the case of my granddad's car, they broke twice. I think the airbag started leaking or something. That was a very expensive repair. I don't remember the exact number, but suffice it to say it was expensive. I also want to take an opportunity to apologize if I know I'm not getting very good angles of this car. I just don't have a lot of room to work with in this garage. But anyway, let's open the hood right quick. All right, got the hood open now. I couldn't open it without the without two hands. So anyway, this right here, kind of limited on light, I apologize. But this right here is probably the aspect of this car that I am most enthusiastic about. And that is the 4.6 liter 2-valve V8 engine, the modular. This right here is a reliability, longevity legend if there ever has been. Especially for me to pick this up with such low mileage. I got a car that will last me a long time. This engine right here, these engines, if you're not familiar with the 4.6 2-valve, it's very important to note the 2-valve part, because the 3 valves were pretty junky. You know, not terrible, but definitely nowhere nearly as good as these. But these engines right here, with just regular maintenance, can get you upwards of 850,000 miles, and that's not even exaggerating. I've seen these engines with over 1 million on them, on the original motor, and still running. Now, you might have 6 or 7 transmissions by then, but the thing is this motor will keep right going. It will outlast the car. This car will be falling apart before this engine ever takes a dump on me. So, and this is just, it runs very good. It's quiet. It's got plenty of power. Everybody says, oh, the 4.6 is gutless. Well, you're looking at a grandpa cruiser here. So it's not a Mustang. You know, it does everything it needs to. And this car also has the 273 rear ratio in it. And so it gets great fuel economy on the highway. I mean, we're talking 26 plus miles per gallon on the highway. I have done several oil changes on this car, and it burns no oil. I mean, zero. So it's this engine is very healthy. It's got a lot of life left in it. I did a coolant flush at the dealer a couple months back. I could have done it myself, but I decided screw it. And so I'm happy I did that. And but everything, I will get the blend door fixed. The compressor does kick in. The air conditioning compressor kicks in. It works. The fan here, the electric fan, kicks in. I love how easy that water pump is to get to because of the, you know, you don't have a clutch fan, so there's water pumps just right there, boom, in your face. And here's a quick shot of the trunk. And it's a little bit messy right now. I've got a few got a few of my socket sets back here, my telescopic magnet. But man, I just love the room in these trunks. And I don't know what it is. I don't know if anybody else has watched the videos, you know, where they're showcasing these cars. And every single time they talk about, look, you could fit 20 bodies in the back of this trunk. It's like, what the it's like, what is it with people's obsession with talking about stuffing bodies into the trunk of a Crown Vic? I don't get it. But anyway, I guess they feel like anybody that would buy a car with a trunk this big is definitely going to is buying it for their serial killer needs, I guess. But anyway, if you guys haven't fallen asleep yet, we'll go ahead and get to the driving section of this video now. One thing this car always does when it's warm is when you start it, it's almost like the RPMs want to drop way down, and it tries to like bog and shake a little bit, and then it picks right up, and RPMs pick back up, runs perfect. I don't know what that is. I think it's in the throttle body or something. And anyway, it's no big deal. It doesn't really affect the way it runs. I also have to apologize. I'm having to stuff my camera underneath the headrest of the passenger seat here, so just bear with me. I'm doing the best I can. I don't have a dash cam in this car yet. I need one. Well, this is another thing I love about this car is the turning radius. I am not used to having good turning radius. So see, there's about 40, a little over 40 feet between the edge of the driveway and this garage here. And as you can see, I'm missing it. I can just make that entire loop without backing up. So it's got great turning radius. Love the way these cars drive. I also love if you can hear it on the camera, I love that first gear whine in these. These Ford AOD transmissions have a straight cut first gear in the planetary gear set, which makes that noise. And it's interesting. So you can hear it when it gears down to first. Every single Ford, including my F-150, my F-150 has the same transmission. This is the 4R75E, and it does the same thing. It's almost like a signature sound for Fords, but I know that a lot of other brands do it too. But man, it is just so nice to get out on the weekends and just drive and relax. refined the engine in this car is. It's just, you barely hear anything. Now, if you step down on the throttle, it will growl at you. I love the way these 4.6s roar. They come to life when you step down on them. They're not that fast, but damn if they don't sound good. This car is also surprisingly quick for what it is. Yeah, when I first got it, I wasn't expecting this car to be as quick as it is. I mean, and keep in mind, it's not fast, but it is quick. There is a difference. But it still exceeded my expectations. take 3 days just to pull up to the fucking sign. I tell you, it brings back so many memories when I used to be riding in my granddad's car. And this thing drives just like that old 97 my granddad had. These cars never really did change that much, although I am glad that they added this updated instrument cluster with a tachometer. That was really nice. For the longest time, it was just a voltmeter, gas gauge, speedometer, temp gauge, and oil pressure gauge. That was it. Now, they did away with the oil pressure gauge and the voltmeter, but replaced it with the tach. Honestly, I can do without the oil pressure gauge and the voltmeter. I mean, because you've already got idiot lights for that stuff anyway. Not to mention, I've already got OBD2 readers that will read voltage coming off the alternator, coming off the battery, I should say. Yeah, if there's anything, these instrument clusters were only designed for the layperson, so. You know, if your oil pressure drops to almost nothing, you know, it'll show a little can, looks like a drip of oil coming out of it, and basically that's your low oil pressure light. And I think this little center screen here, this digital screen, will even say explicitly what that light is. So I'm not exactly sure about that, but I know it's that way in my F-150. This is the same year as this car. Amazing how nice this car takes the bumps too. I mean, this car just floats over everything, it seems. This car is very tight too. The dash doesn't rattle. There's really no loose plastic pieces, no broken plastic pieces that I know of. There might be, I might be forgetting something right now, but the car is very, very well built. These cars are very well built. And there is no denying it, how well these cars are built. It's just a fact. That's the reason that they have, there's a reason why people want to buy them so much. I mean, goodness, you cannot beat this quality for, you know, the money that these things typically go for. You know, now they are going up as time goes on, but for obvious reasons. I tell you one thing, if you happen to be watching this video and you're just looking to buy one of these cars, I can guarantee you right now, if it's even been just somewhat taken care of, I don't think you'd be disappointed. I'm not saying that all of them are perfect. Even this one isn't perfect, but it's perfect to me. You know, just the minor little things that are wrong with it, like the blend door actuator. And I do have to get that fixed. Right now, I'm not even running. It's 60 degrees right now outside, so I'm not running any air, any heat, because it's stuck on full blast heat. Let me tell you something, it'll have my ass drenched in sweat in just about 5 minutes. Heater works really good. Problem getting up to speed. Just a beautiful, amazing ride. Couldn't be happier with it, honestly. Okay, guys, that is all she wrote. And again, I apologize for not having a better perspective, you know, just a better angle for this video. But I don't have my dash cam yet, like I said, and I just don't like holding the camera when I'm driving. It's a bad idea. And so anyway, guys, thanks for watching, and I hope that I can make a video here soon, and maybe when I get my dash cam I can make some better driving videos. Anyway, guys, take care. Have a good 2021.